Have you ever said something and wondered why you reacted so strongly? Felt resentment that didn't quite make sense? Or sabotage something good without knowing why? Most people live their lives in quiet confusion, fighting an invisible war with themselves. Carl Jung called this hidden side the shadow. Unconscious parts of ourselves we're terrified to face, but desperate to understand. Today, you'll learn what your shadow really is, how it secretly shapes your life, and exactly how to finally face it. From the moment we're born, we begin learning not only how to speak, walk, or read, but how to feel. Emotional responses aren't just innate, they're shaped by the reactions of those around us. Carl Jung explained this early process vividly. When a child experiences powerful negative feedback, like shame, rejection, or punishment, for expressing certain natural emotions, the child quickly learns these emotions aren't acceptable. Over time, this suppression becomes automatic, unconscious, and deeply embedded. Imagine a child feeling anger because their boundaries are violated, or sadness at being neglected. If these expressions are met with harsh discipline or withdrawal of affection, the child begins to internalize a dangerous belief. Expressing this emotion makes me unlovable or unsafe. To survive emotionally, they push these feelings deep into the unconscious, forming what Jung famously termed the shadow. But here's the twist. These rejected parts don't disappear. They become an invisible but powerful force. Consider specific examples. A child might be taught that crying or expressing sadness is a sign of weakness. In an environment where strength and emotional toughness are praised, this child learns to suppress vulnerability deeply. Over time, this suppression grows stronger, reinforced by experiences of rejection whenever vulnerability emerges. Thus, an essential part of their authentic emotional experience becomes deeply unconscious. This pattern repeats across countless emotional responses: aggression, ambition, even joy or enthusiasm. When these natural emotions and reactions are repeatedly met with criticism, judgment, or rejection, they are banished into the shadow, remaining invisible but powerful. But how does something hidden in childhood still control you decades later? As adults, the shadow manifests through patterns we can't easily explain. These might be subtle at first: a quick temper, unexplained jealousy, or recurrent feelings of inadequacy. Jung noted that the shadow often surfaces through projection, when we attribute our unconscious qualities to other people. Have you ever disliked someone deeply without clear reason, only later realizing they embodied traits you secretly feared or envied? Projection isn't just negative. Positive traits like ambition or creativity, suppressed by past judgments, might appear exaggerated in others. You admire, even envy them, without realizing you possess these qualities yourself, but long ago labeled them unacceptable. Emotional triggers are another hallmark of the shadow. A minor comment sparks intense anger, or mild criticism plunges you into shame. These disproportionate reactions signal unconscious emotional wounds, waiting for recognition and healing. Jung emphasized clearly, until these wounds are consciously faced, they'll sabotage relationships, goals, and your sense of self-worth. Beyond projection and triggers, the shadow influences decision-making subtly yet powerfully. For instance, repeatedly sabotaging relationships or career opportunities might reflect unconscious beliefs about self-worth formed in childhood. A person might unconsciously believe they don't deserve happiness or success, subtly undermining their own efforts and opportunities. Consider also the phenomenon of emotional numbness or detachment. People who are deeply disconnected from their emotions may have repressed critical emotional responses early in life. This numbness isn't neutral. It masks underlying anxiety, sadness, or fear, now deeply buried, but still affecting daily interactions and relationships. Even compulsive behaviors, addictions, and persistent self-destructive habits can often be traced back to unaddressed shadow material. For example, someone might compulsively seek external validation because their authentic feelings of worthiness were consistently rejected or invalidated early in life. So how do you uncover these deeply hidden parts of your psyche? Integration doesn't mean surrendering to the shadow or acting impulsively. It means becoming conscious of its existence, understanding its origins, and carefully transforming its energy. Shadow work begins with awareness. Recognizing triggers as clues. Honestly asking yourself, why does this affect me so strongly? Opens the door to deep self-discovery. Psychological research aligns with Jung's theories. Journaling emotional reactions consistently reveals hidden patterns. For instance, writing down moments of disproportionate anger or sadness can clarify underlying unconscious fears or beliefs. Active imagination, a technique Jung himself advocated, involves dialoguing with the repressed parts of yourself. This can seem uncomfortable initially, even strange, but this mental exercise facilitates integration, helping repressed emotions lose their destructive power. Professional therapy or structured self-reflection practices offer essential support on this journey. Facing the shadow alone is daunting. Guidance provides safety, structure, and deeper understanding. The process isn't immediate. Shadow work demands honesty and persistence, but the rewards are profound. Reduced anxiety, improved emotional resilience, deeper relationships, and enhanced self-awareness. Jung described this integrative process as individuation, the lifelong journey towards psychological wholeness. A structured approach to shadow work involves specific steps. First, clearly identify emotional triggers, notice patterns of disproportionate responses, and reflect honestly on potential unconscious beliefs behind them. Second, practice active journaling or dialogue regularly, engaging directly with the unconscious content emerging through these reflections. Third, seek supportive environments or professional help, ensuring emotional safety while exploring difficult unconscious material. Many who embark on shadow work initially feel resistance or fear. This is natural. Confronting suppressed parts of the psyche is emotionally challenging. Jung emphasized patience and compassion as critical elements of this process. Understanding that repressed emotions initially serve protective purposes can help foster self-compassion, essential in sustaining long-term integration efforts. But can confronting painful truths really lead to emotional freedom? Integrating your shadow is confronting, but profoundly liberating. Those once rejected parts of your psyche weren't bad. They were misunderstood and silenced out of survival. Embracing them allows you to heal emotional wounds, transform internal conflict, and regain a sense of authentic wholeness. You began life suppressing parts of yourself to survive. Integration helps you reclaim these lost pieces consciously. Facing your shadow isn't just psychological healing, it's emotional rebirth. You move from internal division to psychological unity, from invisible self-sabotage to purposeful clarity. This journey transforms confusion into insight, unconscious sabotage into conscious strength, and fragmented identity into authentic self-awareness. Today, you've learned what your shadow truly is, how it secretly shapes your life, and how to courageously face it. Now, the only question left is, will you take the first step into your shadow to reclaim who you've always been beneath the surface?